Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed. At 1,000 subscribers, I'll be posting a special video. The fork slipped from my hand when Jenna said, "I hate him." Not in a joking way, not in our usual dramatic friend way. Her voice hit hard across the coffee table and my chest tightened. I am Lauren and I was 29 that night, pretending it was no big deal. My first instinct was to laugh like she had told a bad joke. I actually let out this weak little snort and stared at her plate. My face felt hot while my brain tried to reframe the whole sentence. If I treated it like a punchline, then it did not have to be real. "You hate who?" I asked, even though we both knew. She did not blink and she did not back off at all. "Your husband," she said, and the words landed like a slammed door. That was the moment everything started to tilt, even if I shrugged it off. "You are being ridiculous." That came out of my mouth before I could think about it. I rolled my eyes and shoved food around just to stay busy. Inside, I was already lining up excuses for him and for me. Jenna leaned forward with her elbows on her knees. "When you are with him, I lose you completely." She talked low, like she was afraid he might hear her through walls. The way she watched the hallway made my stomach twist for no logical reason. "You are mad because we rescheduled drinks," I tried to joke. My voice sounded thin, like it belonged to someone younger and dumber. "You always go nuclear over small stuff, you know that." I threw that line at her because it always shut her down, and I needed her shut down. Her mouth tightened and she looked right at me. "This is not about one canceled night," she answered, slow and clear. "This is about the way he wedges himself between every plan we make." There it was, the accusation I refused to hear, sitting between us like a third person. I remember glancing at the front door without meaning to. Ethan was due back any minute, and I hated conflict in front of him. Not because he scared me, not that night, at least that is what I told myself. It just felt easier when everyone around him smiled and agreed. "You know he loves hanging out with us," I muttered. Even I could hear how weak that sounded in the quiet room. "He just wants to be included, that is not a crime." The second I said it, Jenna's eyebrows lifted in this sad way that stung. "He wants you to belong only to him," she answered. She did not raise her voice, which somehow made it worse. "When I text you, he appears next to you before you even answer." The truth of that poked at me, so I did what I always did and changed the subject. "At least he cares where I am," I shot back. My chest burned, which I labeled as anger instead of fear. Plenty of women wish their partner actually noticed their life. I picked up my drink with a shaking hand, praying she would drop it. She did not drop it. "Do you hear yourself?" she asked, eyes never leaving my face. "That is not care, that is surveillance." The word hung there like smoke, and I hated that I understood it. The lock clicked at the front door and my whole body stiffened. We both turned our heads in the same quick, nervous movement. For a second I saw something like pity cross her face as she watched me. That look bothered me more than anything she had said so far. Ethan stepped inside and stopped when he saw us. His eyes went from the table to my face to hers in one smooth sweep. "You started without me," he remarked as he set down his keys. That light remark never reached his eyes, and I pretended not to notice. "We thought you were working late," I answered too fast. My hand went up to fix my hair for no reason at all. Jenna stayed quiet and watched him like she was confirming a theory. I caught that and rushed to fill the silence before it turned sharp. "It was kind of last minute," I added with a forced little laugh. He looked straight at Jenna when I said that, like he knew it was a lie. "You two have so many secrets," he commented, half smile, stiff shoulders. There was that familiar mix of teasing and accusation I had learned to smooth over. "No secrets," I replied, my voice jumping up too bright. "We were just talking about work and nonsense girl stuff." The word nonsense came out heavy, like I was already throwing her under the bus. Jenna's jaw flexed and I felt a tiny crack form between us. "Yeah," Jenna said, eyes on me, not him. "We were talking about how you always show up when we plan something." Her tone stayed calm, which made my heart slam even harder. I could feel Ethan's attention sharpen like a spotlight I had just switched on. "I live here," he answered with that slow, measured tone. "Am I supposed to leave my own house when your friend visits?" He laughed once, short and dry, and looked down at the table. That question had claws because there was no safe way to answer it. You know that is not what she means, Jenna told him. Her shoulders lifted as she took a deeper breath, steadying herself. You insert yourself into every conversation she tries to have without you. I wanted to crawl out of my skin hearing her talk to him like that. Wow, he said, dragging the word out with a tight smile. Sounds like someone is jealous of married people. He leaned back like this was entertainment, not my life under a knife. I rushed to stop whatever explosion I felt building in the room. She is not jealous, I insisted, turning to him first. She just misses hanging out like before, that is all. I heard myself offering the safest possible version of her frustration. I was translating her pain into something gentle so he would not feel attacked. Jenna laughed once, that disbelieving little sound she made in college. Do not translate for me, she snapped, hand pressing against her own knee. I am not saying I miss movie nights, I am saying I cannot stand him anymore. Her voice dropped on the last words, and that was the first time she named it. The air in the room changed with that sentence. Ethan's smile died so fast it was almost funny, if it had not terrified me. His eyes narrowed, not wild, just sharp and focused like a problem solver. You what? He asked, quiet in a way that carried more weight than a shout. My pulse thudded so hard I felt it in my gums. I jumped in before she could repeat herself and make it concrete. She is exaggerating, you know how she talks when she gets wound up. I threw my friend under the bus with one neat sentence and hated myself instantly. I am not exaggerating, Jenna answered without even looking at me. Her stare stayed pinned on Ethan like she was finally done dodging. I hate the way you control every second of her time. She pointed at my phone on the table, the screen still lit from a missed text. Ethan's gaze followed her hand, then moved up to my face. You have a problem with how we run our marriage, he asked. His voice stayed level, which was somehow worse than anger. I felt like a kid caught cheating on a test while the adults argued overhead. Jenna shifted toward me instead of him. I have a problem watching her disappear, she said, soft but fierce. She cancels on me because you suddenly need rides or errands or company. She listed things that sounded domestic and cute on paper but suffocating out loud. That is called partnership, he cut in, finally raising his tone a notch. She is my wife, not your sidekick. He looked at me then, daring me to disagree in front of both of them. My tongue felt glued to the roof of my mouth as I tried to pick a side. I knew the correct script as a married woman. You stand with your spouse, you do not let friends insult them. All of that ran through my head like a rule book I had never agreed to read. So I took a breath and stepped over a line I did not even see yet. Jenna, you are making this bigger than it is, I told her. I kept my eyes on the table, which already answered more than my words. He just wants to be included, it is not some giant scheme. I could feel her trust in me slipping like sand through my fingers. Her chair scraped back and the sound made me flinch. You really do not see it, do you? She asked, stunned. He is not trying to join your life, he is trying to own it. That word own made something deep inside me jolt, then I shut it down. You are being dramatic. It came out sharper than I planned, like a slap. Honestly, you sound jealous and kind of obsessed right now. The second those words left my mouth, her face changed in a way I never forgot. Her eyes went glassy, but she did not let tears fall. She looked like she had just watched me burn a bridge on purpose. Jealous of what? She asked, almost calm, which scared me more. Of a man who tracks her like a package and rewrites her calendar. Okay, that is enough, Ethan snapped, finally dropping the calm act. He pushed his chair back and stood over both of us. You do not get to come into my house and attack my marriage. He used the word my like I was furniture, and I pretended I did not notice. Jenna rose too, slow and steady, hands at her sides. I am not attacking a marriage, I am trying to keep my friend. She glanced at me, waiting for any sign that I was on that side. I could not move because choosing her meant a fight I did not think I could survive. You are poisoning her against me, he insisted, voice low and tight. That is what this is really about, right? You cannot stand that she grew up and built something without you. His words hit me too, because part of me wondered if he was right. I remember nodding along like a puppet. Honey, she is just not happy for us, I heard myself say. My throat closed up while I defended him and betrayed her in the same breath. I wanted the argument to stop more than I wanted the truth. Jenna stared at me for a long second. It felt like forever, like she was searching my face for the girl she knew. She hates your husband because he wedges himself between us, SH. He said quietly. Now you are helping him. She grabbed her bag from the floor with one sharp movement. The chair knocked against the table and made our dishes rattle. I am not going to fight for a place in your life against your own husband. Her voice broke just enough to tell me this was not a bluff. Do not leave angry, I blurted, panic finally leaking through. We can talk when everyone cools off, this is silly. That word silly tasted bitter the second it hit the air. I was shrinking the moment because I was terrified it might actually be huge. She paused at the door with her hand on the knob. When you are ready to see what is happening, call me, she said. Her eyes flicked to Ethan, then back to me, like a warning I refused to read. Then she walked out and the door slammed hard enough to shake the frames on the wall. Silence dropped over the room after she left. I stared at the door and told myself she would text an apology later. Ethan let out a long, slow breath behind me and placed a hand on my shoulder. I did not know it yet, but that was the night I chose the wrong side of the story. He turned on me before the door stopped shaking. What the hell was that? He stood between me and the hallway like I might run after her. For a second I actually thought about it, which scared me more than his anger. It got out of hand. My voice sounded small, like it belonged to some kid. You both went too far, she crossed a line. I could feel him watching my face, measuring how much of me still belonged to him. She told you she hates me. He spoke quiet, almost calm, which always put me on edge. In our home, after eating food I paid for. The way he stacked those details made me feel guilty for breathing. You know she does not mean it like that. I rubbed my fingers together, grease still on my skin. She was upset, she always pushes when she cares. Even as I defended her, I moved closer to him like I owed him proof. He exhaled through his nose and shook his head. She wants you for herself, that is what this is. He touched the back of my neck like he was steadying me. I am not going to keep inviting someone in who disrespects us. The word us landed heavy, like a verdict already signed. You do not want her here anymore. It came out more like a statement than a question. Part of me already knew the answer long before he opened his mouth. I will not have her in this house until she apologizes. He spoke into my hair while he pulled me close. And I do not want you talking to anyone who hates our marriage. That was the first version of the choice, dressed up as protection. I remember nodding too fast. Fine, I will give her space, she needs to cool off. I framed it like I was the reasonable one stepping back. Inside something tugged hard, and I pushed that feeling down deep. 3 days later my phone lit up while we watched some show. Her name flashed once, then again, like she had forgotten our fight. I reached for it on reflex and his hand landed on mine. You really going to reward that behavior already? It might be important. I tried to sound casual, not guilty. She never leaves things like this, she probably wants to talk. My thumb hovered over the screen while my chest thumped. Of course she wants to talk. He did not look away from the TV. She wants to drag you back into drama and make me the villain. His jaw worked while he chewed, like he could grind her name down. It is just a text. I forced a little laugh that fooled no one. I can handle my own phone, I am not a child. I threw that line out and instantly braced for impact. He finally faced me. You think this is about control of your phone? His eyes were bright and hard and weirdly hurt. This is about you choosing who gets to shape how you see us. That word choosing made my stomach drop. I am not choosing anyone over anyone. I pulled my hand back and let the notification fade away. I told myself ignoring her once did not mean anything permanent. After that night, every buzz from my phone felt loaded. If I checked it quickly, he watched my face for clues. If I ignored it, I felt like I was betraying myself. Either way, I ended up apologizing to someone. I started turning the ringer off when he got home. It helps me focus on you, I joked one evening. He smiled and kissed my forehead like I had passed some test. Somewhere in there, silence became proof of loyalty. One Saturday I put on jeans and grabbed my bag. I am meeting her for brunch, we need to fix this. I stood by the door tying my shoe, already rehearsing what I would say. Behind me I heard his chair scrape the floor sharp. You are actually going after what she did here. He sounded stunned, like I had punched him. She told you she hates your husband and you still run to her. The word husband came out heavier than usual, more like a weapon. I straightened and held my keys tight. I am going to clear things up, that is it. She has been my closest person for years, I cannot just cut her off. Saying that out loud felt like stepping out onto a ledge. His hand closed around my wrist, not hard yet. You cannot have it both ways forever. He searched my eyes like he wanted to see fear there. You want a partner or you want a buddy who enjoys tearing us apart? That's not fair. My throat tightened and I laughed once just to buy time. She is not tearing us apart, we are fighting because you keep pushing me to choose. The second I said it, I knew I had walked into his script. So maybe you should choose then. He let go of my wrist and stepped back. His face went oddly calm, like he had decided something big. I am not sharing my wife with someone who despises me. My heart stuttered. You are asking me to pick between you and her. The words sounded dramatic even to my own ears. I almost hoped he would walk it back and laugh. He did not laugh. If you walk out that door to meet her, I am done trying. He crossed his arms over his chest like a gate closing. You can sleep on her couch and see how long that lasts. There it was. Not hinted, not implied, spelled out in plain language. I looked from the doorknob to his face and back again. I wish I could say I stormed out, but I did not. My fingers loosened and the keys slipped into my bag. I am not leaving my marriage over brunch, I muttered. I sounded annoyed, like this was some silly scheduling issue. He relaxed just enough to tell me I had chosen the answer he wanted. Thank you. His hand settled on my shoulder, warm and heavy. You are doing the right thing, she will only drag you down. I stared at the floor and tried to believe I had chosen stability. Later that afternoon, I locked myself in the bathroom. I sat on the edge of the tub and opened my messages. Her last text was still there, unread, bright and waiting. My thumb hovered before I finally clicked it. Can we talk without him around? That was all she had written, no extra drama. Something in my chest twisted because she had clocked the whole problem. I wished she had been more wrong. I typed slowly. Now is not a good time, he is really upset. I need to put my relationship first for a while. I watched the dots appear right away. Is that you or him talking? Her reply popped up fast, like she had been holding it ready. My eyes burned and I blinked hard. It is me, I wrote, even though it was both of us. More dots than nothing. The chat stayed open, hanging there like a half-closed door. My stomach churned as minutes passed and no answer came. I put the phone down and told myself space would fix everything. In the weeks after that, he filled up every gap. If I mentioned grabbing coffee with coworkers, he suggested a date instead. If I looked tired, he offered to stay in and watch something together. I started saying no to other people before they even asked. When my sister called one night, she asked about Jenna right away. You two have been weirdly quiet online, did something happen? I opened my mouth and heard a whole new version spill out. She went off on him, it was ugly, I had to step back. It felt like I was reading from a script I had not written alone. She has always been kind of intense about my relationships, I added. Maybe this break is healthy, I need to focus on us anyway. My sister made a doubtful noise, but I pushed through it. After I hung up, he looked over from the couch. What did you tell her? He tried to sound casual, but his eyes were sharp. I repeated my exact words and felt weirdly proud. You handled that perfectly. He reached over and squeezed my knee once. This is what building a family looks like, putting us first. He turned back to the TV while I stared at my silent phone. A month or two blurred like that. He started asking for little things that did not seem like much. Text me when you leave work, it helps me not worry. Let me have your lock codes in case something happens. I remember hesitating for half a second. Do you not trust me? The question popped out before I could soften it. He blinked like I had slapped him. This is not about trust, it is about safety. He held out his palm and waited. You are my wife, if something goes wrong, I need to be able to get in. He made it sound like I was selfish for even pausing. So I gave him everything. Passwords, access, the whole digital map of my life. He kissed my cheek and called me his teammate. I told myself this was normal, this was grown-up love. The night I found out about the block started stupidly ordinary. I was in the shower when I heard my ringtone through the door. Water in my ears, heartbeat in my neck, nothing special. When I came out, my phone rested in a different spot. Your alarm went off, he called from the bedroom. Thought you would want to see if it was important. His voice had that light tone that always set off alarms in me. I dried my hands and picked up the phone anyway. No missed calls. No new alerts. Just my home screen, clean and quiet like nothing had happened. A weird nerve flickered in my stomach. Later, while he was brushing his teeth, I opened my settings. I do not know what I expected to find there. Maybe nothing, maybe some harmless thing that would make me feel crazy. Instead, I saw her name in the block list. My throat went dry. I stared at the screen until my hands started to tingle. Her number sat there with that neat little symbol next to it. Like she had never tried to reach me at all. I could have walked into the bathroom right then. I could have held up the phone and asked straight out. Instead, I thumbed over the option and hit unblock. The contact slid back into my main list, quiet and waiting. A wild hopeful thought flashed through me. Maybe it had been some glitch, some pocket tap. Maybe I had done it by mistake weeks ago and forgotten. It was easier to blame my own foggy brain than confront him. I opened our messages and stared at the empty thread. No recent texts, no missed calls, nothing new. If she had tried to contact me while blocked, I would never know. That possibility sat heavy on my chest. I typed out one word. Hey. Just that, simple and stupid and desperate. Then I erased it, every letter like it burned. What are you doing? His reflection filled the bedroom mirror when I glanced up. He towel dried his hair and watched my hands instead of my face. Just clearing old numbers, my storage is a mess, I blurted. He nodded once and walked over. Good idea, fresh start, no baggage. He kissed the top of my head and went to his side of the bed. I turned my phone face down so he could not see the shaky screen. Lying there in the dark, I could not stop thinking about that list. About her name yanked out of my life without a sound. I told myself he had just been hurt and overreacted and went too far. I also knew I had helped by staying quiet and playing along. He pulled me closer, one arm heavy around my waist. Everything okay? He murmured against my neck. Yeah, I answered, staring into the dark with my eyes wide open. That was the first night I wondered if losing her was not an accident at all. The mug hit the wall before I understood he had thrown it. Hot liquid sprayed my arm and I jerked back fast. Why are you ignoring me? He shouted, hands still half raised. My ears rang while my brain scrambled to make it my fault. I did not hear you. My voice came out thin and shaky. I was answering an email I swear I did not hear. Even then I rushed to sound guilty so he would calm down. He paced once from the sink to the doorway. I asked you 3 times if you told your mom about us. His breathing came short, almost panting. You just stared at your screen like I was not even here. I grabbed a towel and wiped my arm, fingers trembling. We talked yesterday, she just asked how we were doing. I watched his face while I chose every word. I told her things are fine, I did not mention any fights. So you lied for us. His shoulders loosened a notch at that. That is good, you should keep other people out of our business. He stepped over the shards like they were nothing while my heart pounded. Let me clean this up. I crouched and started picking up pieces. The edges bit into my palm and I sucked in a breath. He glanced down and turned away, already over it. Next time respond when I am speaking. He grabbed his jacket from the chair and slipped it on. I do not like repeating myself, it makes me feel disrespected. The word disrespected sat there while I knelt on the floor. After the door closed, I stared at the cracked spot on the wall. My palm stung where a tiny cut had opened. I ran water over it and watched the pink swirl down the drain. That stupid little cut felt like proof something had shifted. Here is the messed up part. I spent longer blaming myself for zoning out than worrying he threw something. I told myself he was stressed and I had tuned him out. That was easier to swallow than the idea he could snap again. Work became my quiet escape, and even that did not last. One afternoon my desk phone rang and I jumped hard. Ethan's name flashed on my personal screen at the same time. Both sounds together made my pulse kick up. "Hey, just checking in." His voice was light, like this was sweet, not intrusive. "What are you doing for lunch? Who are you going with?" He stacked the questions so fast I barely answered. "I have a meeting, then I will grab something nearby." I kept my tone casual and glanced toward the hallway. Coworkers walked past laughing, lives not monitored. For a second I envied how easy that looked. "Do not eat alone, that is depressing." He laughed once, a strange clipped sound. "Ask one of the girls from your team, go somewhere close." He wanted names. Without saying he wanted names. "I will figure it out." I knew if I picked someone he disliked, he would dissect it later. If I mentioned a guy from the office, there would be a whole new fight. So I kept it vague and hoped that would be enough. "It would help me relax if you shared your location this afternoon." The way he said relax made it sound like I was responsible for his anxiety. "It just gives me peace knowing you made it back okay." He wrapped it in care, and I wrapped my own doubts in the same thing. I pressed the button and shared it without arguing. "It is just for today," I told myself under my breath. Tomorrow I would turn it off, tomorrow I would push back a little. Tomorrow kept moving further away. Later that week, my manager pulled me into a conference room. "You have seemed distracted lately, everything all right at home?" He looked concerned, not nosy, and that almost broke me. I smiled too wide and nodded like a bobblehead. "Just tired, we have had a lot going on." The words came out polished from rehearsing them. "Some family stuff, nothing serious, I have got it handled." He let it go, and I hated how relieved I felt. That night Ethan wanted to celebrate, nothing in particular. He ordered takeout and opened a bottle. "We deserve a fun evening," he announced, eyes on me. "Just us, no outsiders, no weird energy." By weird energy he meant my sister, my parents, anyone who asked questions. My phone buzzed on the table and his gaze snapped to it. "Who is that?" 3 words sharp as a slap. I flipped it over and my stomach lurched. "Old group chat, college friends planning a little reunion." "Just the girls from school," I said, keeping my face neutral. "They are trying to pick a weekend to meet up." He nodded slowly, like he was considering a threat. "Well, we have that work thing coming up, could be tough timing." He poured me another drink I did not ask for. "I do not want you running yourself ragged just to entertain people. It would be one weekend." I pushed the glass away with my fingertips. "I barely see them, it might be nice to catch up." Even as I spoke, my voice had this apologetic edge. "Last time you went out late, you came home exhausted and crabby." He laughed, but his eyes stayed flat. "I had to deal with the mood for days, remember?" My brain scrambled through memories trying to match his version. "I was hungover for half a day." I rubbed my temple, annoyed with myself. "Pretty normal for a night out, not a crime." I tried to keep it light, though my jaw ached. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "You are not in college anymore, you have responsibilities now." He gestured between us, like our marriage was a contract on the table. "Friends who drag you backwards are not good for us." There it was again. Us used like a shield for everything he wanted. He never had to say what I want, he just adjusted the pronoun. I did not hear how slick that was back then. A week later, the group picked a date without me. Messages piled up while I sat on the couch beside him. I watched the little previews slide down my screen. He saw them too and raised an eyebrow. "You can tell them no." He clicked through channels like this was background chatter. "Blame your strict husband, if that is easier, I will take the hit." He said it like he was doing me a favor. I typed slowly so my hands would not shake. "Hey, I cannot make it, schedule is insane right now. Next time for sure, love you all." I pressed send, swallowed hard, and set the phone down. "See, that was not so hard." He smiled and pulled me under his arm. "You and me against the world, that is what matters." I let him tuck me in while something inside me curled smaller. Nights got louder. If dinner took longer than he wanted, his voice rose. If I forgot to mention a tiny change in plans, he slammed doors. Never at me, always near me, just close enough to make me flinch. One evening I came home 10 minutes later than usual. Traffic had been a mess, nothing dramatic, just life. He was waiting in the living room, phone in hand. No text, no call, nothing. I did not think 10 minutes was a big deal. I dropped my bag and rubbed my stiff neck. My phone was on low battery, I was just trying to get home. As soon as I finished, I knew it would not land well. So your battery is more important than my peace of mind. He rose slowly, like he was holding himself back. Do you know what it is like to stare at your location not moving? He waved his screen toward me like a badge. You watched the map while I sat in traffic. My chest felt tight and hot. I cannot control cars, I cannot control lights. I spread my hands so he would see I was empty. You can control sending one message. His jaw clenched and unclenched. Running late, roads suck is not advanced communication. He quoted the exact text I should have sent. Something in me snapped a little. I am not Adele. Ivory order with live tracking. The words flew out before I checked them. We both froze like the room had tilted. He stepped closer, eyes sharp. So that is how you see me, some controlling monster. His voice dropped even lower, which always scared me more than yelling. Maybe your friend got in your head more than I thought. We were back to her again without saying her name. Do not twist this into Jenna, I snapped. This is about you watching dots move on a screen. My hands shook, but I did not back up. He exhaled hard and turned away, palms pressed to the counter. I am trying to keep you safe in a dangerous world. His shoulders shook once like he was holding back tears. You could at least appreciate the effort. There it was, the guilt hook. I could feel myself leaning toward it even as I fought it. I know you worry, I know you care. I just need to breathe sometimes without reporting every move. He spun back and grabbed my face with both hands, not rough, not gentle. I cannot lose you, he whispered, eyes suddenly wet. Promise me you will not let anyone come between us again. The word anyone covered more than I wanted to admit. I nodded because his fingers dug into my cheeks. I promise no one is trying to separate us. My voice came out uneven against his grip. He kissed my forehead and let go like everything was fixed. Later that night he fell asleep fast. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, mind buzzing. I reached over his chest and carefully slid my phone from the charger. The screen lit my side of the bed like a secret. I opened social media and typed Jenna's name. Her profile popped up, still there, still familiar. New photos, new faces, a birthday dinner I had missed. There was a smiling group shot, an empty space where I used to stand. My throat tightened as I scrolled. One short post grabbed me by the gut. Watching someone choose their relationship over their own sanity is wild. No names, no tags, but I felt that line hit like it had my initials on it. I locked the screen fast, heart racing. It is not about me, I whispered, like saying it could make it true. Even as I said it, tears leaked into my hairline. I could not tell if I was angry at her, him, or myself. For days after that, I jumped whenever my phone lit up. Sometimes it was a bill, sometimes a sale notification. Every time I hoped it would be her anyway. Every time it was not, I told myself I preferred the quiet. Here is the truth I did not want to face then. Life without her did not feel calmer, it felt smaller. Every decision ran through this invisible filter in his head. My own instincts got quieter, like they were ashamed to speak. The first real crack did not come from a huge fight. It came from a tiny moment at the grocery store. We ran into one of his coworkers and made small talk. When he walked away, she leaned closer to me. If you ever need a ride somewhere, you can always call. She kept her tone light, almost joking. Her eyes searched my face like she was checking for bruises. I live right off the main road, it is no trouble. My stomach flipped hard at that. Thanks, but I am good, I replied, forcing a half smile. We are just busy lately, nothing dramatic. I hated how rehearsed that line sounded coming out of my mouth. On the drive home, he griped about her. She is so nosy, always fishing for gossip. He changed lanes fast, knuckles pale on the wheel. You do not need people like that in your life. I watched the blurred scenery slide past my window. If she is so awful, why do you work with her every day? The question slipped out before I could snatch it back. He snapped his gaze toward me and my chest seized up. That is different, I do not have a choice with coworkers. He tapped the steering wheel in a tight rhythm. You get to decide who you let into your head. Again, the word decide landed like a warning. That night, brushing my teeth, I caught my own reflection. Jaw tight, eyes dull, shoulders caved forward. I barely recognized the woman staring back. I knew exactly who had let it get this far. I wish I could say I picked up my phone right then. I wish I could say I called Jenna and confessed everything. Instead, I did what I had trained myself to do. I set the phone down face first and told myself maybe tomorrow. Why are you so jumpy? We are just going to dinner. He snapped the seatbelt into place like a warning shot. My palms were already damp on my jeans, and we had not left the driveway. Some part of me knew this drive was going to blow something open. He checked the side mirror and glanced at me. Remember, your family does not need every detail of our life. His fingers tapped the wheel in a tight rhythm. Especially about people who tried to wreck it. You mean hers? I stared straight ahead, throat tight. The topic might not even come up, we have other things to discuss. Even as I said it, I heard how shaky that plan sounded. It always comes up. He gave this little humorless laugh that made my skin crawl. Your mom adored your little sidekick, she is going to notice the silence. He adjusted the radio like we were planning a joke, not a cover story. So what do you want me to say? I turned toward him, heart pounding. That she vanished, that we fought, that she hates your guts. The last part slipped out and I bit my tongue too late. His jaw flexed hard. Or you could say we grew apart because that is what happened. He pulled onto the main road faster than I liked. You chose your marriage, that is nothing to be ashamed of. Feels weird to call that growing apart. I watched streetlights smear across the windshield. It makes it sound normal, like it just faded. The word faded tasted false, even to me. He drummed his fingers again. Would you rather tell them she insulted me in my own home? His voice dropped lower, steady and cold. Do you think they will support you staying with a man they think abused you? That word punched the air out of my lungs. I never said you. The rest caught in my throat because I suddenly heard how it might sound. If I described the thrown mug or the blocked number, it would not sound good. He watched me swallow. Exactly, he muttered, almost satisfied. People love to twist things, they do not understand how we work. He made us sound like a special club no one else was smart enough to join. By the time we pulled up at my parents' place, my script was loaded. Be upbeat. Keep details vague. Make it sound like life just shifted on its own. My mom hugged me a little longer than usual. You look worn out, everything okay? Her hand brushed my cheek, fingers lingering like she wanted to check for something. I laughed it off so fast my head spun. Work has been insane and we are busy with house stuff. The lines tumbled out smooth from practice. Good busy though, nothing dramatic, promise. I stepped back before she could press harder. Ethan moved in with that perfect polite charm. He complimented her cooking, asked about my dad, made everyone laugh. I watched him perform and tried not to think about the broken mugs still in our trash. No one else knew that version of him existed. Halfway through the meal, my mom tilted her head. You two still talking to Jenna, or is she off traveling again? She said it casually, but her eyes locked on mine. The fork almost slipped from my fingers. I felt Ethan's leg press against mine under the table. Tiny pressure, strong message. Oh, we do not really hang out anymore, I managed. Life happened, schedules got weird, you know. My mom frowned slightly. That fast after all those years? She dabbed her mouth, still watching me. Did something happen or did it just drift? I could hear my pulse in my ears. She is in a different season now, I blurted. We want different things, it started feeling forced. Every word felt like chewing gravel. Across the table, Ethan reached for his glass with a calm hand. She also made some comments that were hurtful, he added lightly. We decided some distance was healthier for everyone. He delivered it like a doctor giving a neutral diagnosis. My mom's gaze jumped between us. Hurtful to who? Her tone sharpened, softer but sharper, like she had caught a bad scent. You both always seemed joined at the hip. I jumped in before he could answer again. It is complicated, but I do not want to rehash it. I forced a smile my cheeks did not feel. I am fine, that is what matters. Are you? She said it very quietly, almost to herself. Her eyes slid down to my hands resting in my lap. I curled my fingers so she would not see the fading scratch on my palm. After dinner, my dad pulled Ethan outside to look at something in the yard. That left me alone in the kitchen with my mom and a stack of dishes. The second we were out of earshot, she turned to me. "Tell me what is going on." "Nothing is going on." The words came out too fast, too bright. "We just had some disagreements with her, things got weird." I kept my back to her while I rinsed plates that did not need rinsing. "Lauren." Her voice cut through all my deflection. "You are withdrawn, you jump at noises, and your best friend is gone." She reached over and turned off the water so I had to look at her. Heat rushed up my neck. "It is just stress, we are adjusting, marriage is a lot." The excuses sounded paper thin as they left my mouth. I hated that I was using cliches to cover real fear. "Does he raise his voice at you?" Her question landed heavy in the quiet room. "Does he throw things? Do you feel nervous around him?" She did not blink while she waited. The image of the shattered mug flashed in my head. My heart stumbled but my mouth kept working. "He gets loud sometimes, I do too, we both lose it." I spread the blame like butter so it would go down easier. She studied me for a long moment. "You used to call me when you were upset," she murmured. "Now I only hear about holiday plans, nothing real." Her eyes looked shiny and that almost broke me. "We are just trying to handle stuff ourselves," I muttered. I leaned on the counter to steady my shaking legs. "I do not want to dump every argument on you, it is not fair." I sounded noble, not terrified, and that twist still haunts me. "Has he tried to isolate you?" The word isolate made my stomach lurch. "From friends, from us, from anyone who might disagree with him." She said it like she had practiced it for this exact conversation. I let out a short laugh that did not match my face. Wow, straight to the Lifetime movie questions. I grabbed a towel just to have something to twist. "He is not locking me in a basement, okay?" "That is not what I asked." Her voice stayed even, which scared me more. "I asked if you feel free to reach out when you need help." She tapped the counter once for emphasis. I opened my mouth, nothing came out. Because if I answered honestly, everything would crack. If I lied, I was choosing my cage. So I did this cowardly third thing. "I am tired, can we not do this tonight?" I kept my eyes on the floor. "I love you, I hear you, but I am not ready to pick apart my marriage at the sink." My tongue felt heavy as I forced the words. She stepped closer and touched my arm. "If you ever text me just one word, anything, I will come." Her fingers squeezed gently like she was sending something through skin. "I do not care what time, I will show up." I nodded without really agreeing. "Okay," I whispered. The promise sat between us like an unused key. I was not ready to admit how soon I would need it. On the drive home, he reached over and laced his fingers with mine. "That went well," he commented, eyes on the road. "Your mom tried her little interrogation thing, but you handled it." He sounded proud, like I had passed another hidden exam. I hate lying to her. I watched the dark shapes of houses pass by. She knows something is off, I am not sure how long I can keep this up. My stomach churned at my own admission. He squeezed my hand harder. "You are not lying, you are protecting our privacy." He spoke slowly, feeding me each word. "Big difference, do not let her guilt you." She asked if you throw things. The sentence left my mouth before I could catch it. He stiffened, shoulders inching toward his ears. I held my breath waiting for impact. "And you told her we both have tempers sometimes." His voice cooled again, careful and measured. "Because that is true, we both get heated, we both say stuff." He turned my own words from earlier into a shield. I did not mention the mug. My throat felt raw. I did not tell her about the block either, I kept all of that. Saying it out loud made me realize how much I was carrying. "Good." He nodded once, jaw still tight. "Because she would overreact and try to blow up our life." He took a deeper breath and finally relaxed a little. Back at home, I went straight to the bedroom. I sat on the edge of the bed and pulled out a box from under it. Pictures, ticket stubs, little scraps from a version of me that did not flinch. Her face stared up from half the photos. In one shot, we had our arms around each other, laughing at something off camera. My eyes looked bright and unbothered, like I had never heard the word isolation. I traced the outline of her shoulder without meaning to. Something inside my chest ached so sharp I had to look away. Behind me, he leaned on the doorframe. "Throw that thing out," he remarked, voice casual. "It is full of memories that only hurt you now." He crossed his arms as he watched me decide. "I am just sorting," I answered, keeping my tone neutral. "Figuring out what to keep, what to let go." Technically not a lie, but nowhere near the whole truth. His gaze lingered for a beat, then he walked away. When the house finally went quiet, I climbed into bed with my phone. I opened our old message thread and scrolled up. Jokes about stupid shows, screenshots of outfits, late-night panic dumps. All that daily noise that made a person feel held. The last real message from her sat there like a stone. "Is that you or him talking?" Reading it again made my stomach twist hard. Back then I had answered wrong on purpose. I hovered over the keyboard for a long time. Every sentence I typed sounded pathetic or defensive. "Sorry I disappeared" felt weak. "Things are complicated" felt dishonest. Finally, I stopped trying to sound polished. I took a breath and wrote what I actually wanted to know. "Are you still there?" Just those 4 words, no explanation, no emoji to soften it. My thumb hovered over send, and I almost hit delete instead. Because if she ignored it, that would hurt in a clean, undeniable way. If she replied, I might have to look at my life with both eyes open. Neither option felt safe. Which told me everything. I pressed send. The message whooshed out and my heart jumped into my throat. I watched the screen like it might explode. Nothing happened, just a single gray bubble sitting in silence. Footsteps sounded in the hallway and I locked my phone fast. He walked in, already in sleep clothes, rubbing his neck. "Long day," he muttered as he climbed in beside me. I nodded and tried to slow my breathing. "Everything okay with your folks?" He slid an arm around me, pulling me against his chest. "They did not upset you too much, did they?" His voice landed light, but there was a sharp line tucked under it. "They just worry," I answered, eyes on the dark ceiling. "They always have, they do not know when to stop." I repeated his language instead of my own. It tasted wrong and I swallowed it anyway. He kissed the top of my head and turned off the lamp. "Like I said, people project their fears onto you." His breath warmed my hair while he settled in. "Good thing you know who actually has your back." I lay there stiff in his arms, phone heavy under my pillow. Every tiny buzz made my heart lurch, even imaginary ones. I kept picturing that message floating on her screen. Either building a bridge or confirming I had burned it for good. My phone buzzed so hard it slid under my pillow. I jerked awake and grabbed it before he stirred beside me. One new message sat on the screen from her contact name. "Yeah, I am here, are you safe?" My fingers shook while I typed. "I am okay, I just need to talk to you without him." Dots appeared, disappeared, then came back again. "Tomorrow, somewhere public, text me a place." The shower started in the bathroom a few minutes later. I stared at my reflection in the dark screen. If he saw those messages, there would be a whole new storm. My chest felt like it was filled with bees. The next morning I waited until he grabbed his keys. "I have to stop at the store after work, we are out of stuff." I kept my gaze on my bag so he would not read my eyes. He paused at the door long enough to make my skin prickle. "Text me when you get there and when you leave." He straightened his collar, watching my face. "And if your phone dies, use someone else's phone." Each condition landed like a small metal lock. "I will keep you posted." The words came out smooth from practice. He kissed my cheek and walked out like any normal husband. The door clicked shut and my shoulders dropped a full inch. At lunch, I slipped out of the office with my heart racing. I typed the address of a cafe near work and hit send. 15 minutes, she replied, no emoji, no extra fluff. I stood on the sidewalk and almost turned around twice. She was already there when I walked in. Hair pulled back, eyes sharp, posture rigid. Jenna looked up, and for a second neither of us moved. All the little betrayals sat between us like another person. "Hey." My voice came out hoarse and uncertain. She studied my face as I slid into the seat. "Thanks for coming," I added, fingers knotting together. Her gaze swept over me once, head to toe. "How are you sleeping?" she asked, skipping any small talk. The question caught me completely off guard. My mouth opened and nothing coherent came out. "I do not know," I admitted. I wake up a lot, I hear every sound at night. Once I started, I could not stop the truth. I count his steps in the hallway without meaning to. Her jaw set tighter at that. That is not normal settling in stuff, you know that. She leaned forward, forearms on the table. Tell me the last time he scared you. I flinched at the word scared. I did not say I was scared, I said I was jumpy. The defense snapped out before I could think. Old habit, automatic, protecting him and myself. Okay, she murmured, eyes not leaving mine. When did you feel jumpy then? She gave me no room to hide behind softer words. My throat burned as I searched for a safe answer. A few days ago, he threw something near me. The confession slid out in pieces. He was stressed, it was stupid, it missed. I rushed to smooth it over like that fixed the impact. Her fingers clenched around her cup. He has been crossing that line for a long time. She watched me carefully like I might bolt. You just stopped calling it what it is. I would remember if it had been that bad. I hated the plea in my own voice. You are acting like I am in some crime show. I wanted this to sound exaggerated, but my stomach churned. She took a breath and looked toward the window. Do you remember that night at the bar last year? The one where he insisted we all stay out later. My mind flicked through hazy scenes until one locked in. Sort of, I answered slowly. We argued about going home, I was tired. I remembered being annoyed, not much else. Alcohol had blurred the edges on purpose. I watched him grab your arm when you tried to leave. Her voice stayed low and steady. You told him you were ordering a car and he cut in front of you. Her hands mimed that blocking move and my skin went hot. He was just drunk and stupid, I muttered. He did not want me walking alone, the city can be rough. The excuses felt flimsy even as I said them. Pieces of the night started drifting back like bad clips. You told him I would ride with you. Her eyes glistened, but she held it together. He yanked you back so hard your drink spilled on your shoes. The table between us might as well have been a barrier in court. A phantom ache pulsed at my wrist. I saw myself laughing it off in a bathroom, sticky and dizzy. I had made jokes about being clumsy while she dabbed my sleeve. I had not let myself notice her shaking hands. The next day you had a faint mark on your skin. She nodded once, like confirming her own memory. You blamed a door frame and called yourself dramatic. Her lips trembled when she said dramatic. I do that, I whispered. I tell myself I am overdoing it, I say it all the time. It hit me how often those words came out of my mouth. I had been sanding down every rough edge for him. She pulled out her phone and scrolled for a moment. I kept this because I knew you would gaslight yourself. She slid it across so the screen faced me. A photo stared back showing a faint shadow around my wrist. I remembered taking that picture and texting it to her. Caption, look what I did to myself, told you I am a mess. At the time it had felt like a clumsy joke. Now I could see his fingers in the shape without trying. My chest went hollow and cold. I did not want to believe it was from him. The words came out thin, almost childish. Bad things like that happen to other women, not to me. Other women start here. Her voice roughened on the last word. With little marks, little scares, little rules that keep shrinking you. She tapped the photo with her thumb. I pushed the phone back toward her. Why did you never bring this up before? It came out harsher than I meant. Anger at her felt easier than anger at myself. She let the hit land, then answered. I tried, you brushed me off, you defended him. Her eyes met mine, unwavering. You told me I was jealous and obsessed with your relationship. Hearing my own old lines out loud made my face burn. I was trying to fix what you two had, she went on. I thought if I stayed close, you would have a place to land. Her hand shook lightly around her cup. He cornered me in your hallway once when you were in the shower. That sentence made my spine go rigid. He thanked me for loving you, then told me you were unstable. She looked away like she might throw up. What? The room tilted for a second. He called you what? My nails dug into my palms under the table. He said you invent problems to feel special. She swallowed hard and stared at a point over my shoulder. He said you twist innocent things into abuse, that I encourage it. The bile shot up the back of my throat. I never said those words about him, I blurted. I never told you he hurt me, not like that. Hearing that script tied to my name made me dizzy. He had built a whole character sheet for me without my help. He wanted me to question everything I saw, she continued. And it almost worked because I love you and I wanted to be wrong. Her fingers tapped a jittery rhythm on the table. But I kept watching. I could not sit still anymore. I stood then sat again, legs jittering under me. What else did you see? I asked, voice cracking. I was terrified of the answer and needed it anyway. She rubbed her forehead like it hurt to remember. He would make jokes about you in front of people, then watch your reaction. Tiny digs about you being forgetful or too sensitive, always with a smile. He wanted everyone to think he was patient and you were lucky. My mind flashed to dinner parties, work events, family gatherings. Little stories he told about me leaving cabinets open or losing keys. Everyone laughing while my face burned, while I forced a smile. I had called it couple teasing and moved on. You always look smaller afterward, she murmured. Not physically, like you were trying to take up less space. Her hand hovered over the table, then dropped. That is when I started hating him. I flinched at that word again. Hate is strong, I muttered out of reflex. It sounded weak even to me. She stared like she could not believe I still needed convincing. You know what really flipped it for me? She asked. Her voice dropped so low I had to lean in. The last time we fought at your place before I left for good. I nodded, throat tight, remembering pieces. You went to the bathroom to catch your breath. She watched my face as she spoke. He followed you down the hallway until I cleared my throat. Her mouth twisted at the memory. He turned back to me and smiled like we were friends. The word smiled came out like an insult. He sat down close and explained how you were ruining his life. She shook her head, still stunned by it. What did he say exactly? I needed the precise language. My mind felt like it was rearranging tiles. Every sentence he used had two meanings now. He said you were dramatic and broken from before he met you. Her eyes shone, but she did not look away. He claimed he was the only one keeping you from falling apart. That phrase echoed something he had told me in bed. My stomach turned over hard. He tells me I would be lost without him, I whispered. Like no one else could handle me, not even my own family. I had thought that sounded romantic the first time. I know, she replied, voice soft now. That is why I backed out. I realized he was building a world where only he fit. She took a slow breath and let it out. I chose to step away rather than keep fighting him for basic access to you. I blinked fast, trying to clear my vision. I thought you abandoned me, I confessed. I told myself you got tired of my problems and just left. Saying it out loud made me feel childish and raw. I stepped back so he would stop using me as leverage. She dragged a hand over her face. I hoped you would notice the silence and ask why he was so relieved. Her mouth curved into a bitter line. He told me cutting you off was my decision. My laugh came out harsh and humorless. He framed it as me being mature and choosing us. The irony made my ribs ache. She leaned closer, eyes fierce. You are not crazy, and you are not hard to love. She let each word sit for a second. You are being controlled, and he is very good at it. I stared at the table because I could not handle her gaze. I keep thinking I am overreacting, I muttered. Then I remember how quiet I walk around him, how fast I explain myself. My hands twisted in my lap until the skin hurt. That is not overreacting, that is survival. Her voice broke on the last word. She reached across and gripped my wrist gently, right where the old mark had been. I did not pull away this time. What if leaving makes everything explode? I whispered. He has never actually hit me, not with a fist, not yet. The yet slipped out before I could catch it. We both heard it, and the silence after felt loud. I am more scared of you staying than of him blowing up once, she answered. Her thumb moved in small circles on my skin. I already talked to my brother, you have a place if you want it. The word already made my head snap up. You planned this without me. It sounded accusatory, but really it was panic. She did not flinch. I planned in case you ever remembered you deserve help. I covered my face with both hands and let out a rough sound. This was the part where I was supposed to be brave. Instead, I just sat there shaking, caught between two lives. The one that hurt and the one that terrified me to reach for. My phone buzzed on the table, screen lighting up. His name filled the display with a new message. Lunch almost over, send me a picture so I know you are okay. The back of my neck prickled hard. You told him you were alone. Jenna watched my expression change and already knew. I nodded, stomach clenched, thumb hovering over the notification. The lie sat there waiting for a partner. Do not send him a photo of me, she murmured. Her mouth pressed into a firm line. I do not want him knowing I am back in your orbit, not yet. Fear and defiance twisted together in her eyes. I flipped the camera, snapped a quick shot of my drink and notebook. Almost done, heading back soon, I typed with careful hands. I hit send and watched the little arrow fly away. My pulse roared in my ears as I set the phone down. He is going to be pissed if I am late, I muttered. The old reflex came back strong, already pre-blaming myself. He will pick apart my tone, my timing, every little thing. I hated how predictable that had become. Let him be mad, she replied, steady now. You being late to a script is not a crime. She leaned in until our foreheads almost touched across the table. Start imagining a day where his mood is not your weather. For a second I saw it, just a flash. Waking up without checking my phone before my own thoughts. Saying yes to coffee without calculating his reaction first. Breathing without explaining why. Tears blurred everything, and I wiped them away with the heel of my hand. What if I am wrong about all of this? I asked quietly. What if he is just flawed and stressed and normal? I clung to that last word like a frayed rope. If I am wrong, you get a break at my place and some time to think. She shrugged, but her eyes stayed intense. If I am right, this conversation might be the thing that saves your life. The word life hung between us, heavier than anything else she had said. I checked the time and my stomach dropped. I have to get back, I whispered, suddenly awe of every minute. If he starts calling, it will spiral fast. My hand shook as I reached for my bag. Jenna stood when I did, blocking my path for 1 second. Text me when you are home, just one emoji, I do not care which. She squeezed my shoulder once, firm and grounding. And if you ever send nothing instead, I am coming over. I nodded because speaking felt impossible. Walking out of that cafe felt like stepping off a ledge. Every muscle in my body tensed for some invisible impact. I did not know yet if it would be his anger or my own courage that landed first. He was on the phone before I reached our street. Screen glowing with his name, ringtone drilling into my nerves. I picked up on the third ring so my voice would not betray me. Driving back now, traffic is slow, I blurted before he spoke. You are late. No hello, no softening, just that flat statement. I checked the map, you have been sitting in one place. The way he stressed map made my stomach twist. I parked to answer an email. My fingers tightened on the wheel. Client wanted an answer before the afternoon rush, I pulled over. The lie came way too easily, and that scared me more than him. Silence hummed for a second. Then a long exhale filled my ear. Send me another picture when you get home. He hung up before I could respond. By the time I walked through the door, my shirt stuck to my back. He stood in the entryway, arms folded, keys in the bowl. Show me, he said, not even bothering with a greeting. I held up my phone like I was going through customs. I flipped the camera and snapped a quick selfie. Hair messy, eyes too wide, house in the blurry background. Happy? I asked, forcing a tired smile. He studied the image like it was evidence. You look guilty. He stepped closer until I could smell his cologne. Who were you with? 3 words, low and sharp. Coworker from accounting. The lie tasted metallic on my tongue. We grabbed something quick near the office, nothing dramatic. I kept my gaze steady and prayed he would not ask for a name. He reached for my phone and I flinched. Just a tiny jerk of my hand, but he caught it. What are you hiding? He asked, voice suddenly quieter. His fingers hovered an inch from my screen. I am tired of 20 questions. Some leftover courage from the cafe still lingered. I went out, I ate food, I came home, end of story. My pulse hammered so hard I heard it in my ears. His jaw ticked once, then he snatched the phone. I lunged, but he had already stepped back out of reach. The way you panic when I hold this tells me everything, he muttered. My chest burned while he swiped through my apps. He opened messages and scrolled. His brow furrowed when he saw the gap between threads. Where is your lunch chat? He asked without looking up. I realized with a jolt that I had met Jenna from my old saved contact. It was personal, I answered too quickly. Work stuff, you would just roll your eyes. I reached for the phone and he angled it away. He tapped something and my blood ran cold. Who is this number? He demanded. Her contact name sat at the top of the screen. Not the same as before, but he knew the pattern. His eyes snapped up, bright with sudden understanding. You did not, he breathed. His face shifted from suspicion to fury in one heartbeat. You brought her back into our life after everything. The word "our" sounded like a slammed drawer. I asked if she was okay, I answered, voice shaking. That is all, I just needed to know she was alive. My hands fluttered uselessly at my sides. He stared like I had confessed to an affair. She hates me. Spit flew at the word. She wants you to doubt me, she wants this to fail. He jabbed his finger at the phone screen. She wants me not dead, I snapped back. The sentence came from somewhere deep I had been avoiding. His eyes widened like I had slapped him in public. We both froze at the word dead. Where is this coming from? He paced a tight circle in the hallway. She is poisoning you again, she always does this. His voice jumped an octave, wild and accusing. I saw the mug on the wall in my mind. The bruise on my wrist. The way I flinched when he closed doors too fast. I am poisoning myself just fine, I muttered. He stopped pacing and locked onto me. What did she tell you? He stepped closer with every word. What lies is she dumping into your head now? She repeated things I already lived. My throat scraped raw. You throwing things, grabbing me, cutting off my friends. I watched that list land like blows. His hand whipped out and hit the wall inches from my face. A loud crack echoed down the hallway. My whole body jerked and my knees nearly buckled. He watched my flinch with something like satisfaction. Did I hit you? He spread his fingers near my cheek. Did I touch you just now? Answer me. His voice curved around the word like a trap. No, I whispered. He nodded like he had proven a point in court. Then stop acting like I am this monster she invented. He pulled his hand back, but I stayed pressed to the wall. In that second I saw the split screen. Him insisting he had never actually struck me. Me counting all the times he had missed by an inch on purpose. Fear and clarity finally lined up. I am leaving. The words came out quiet but solid. His head snapped back like he had been hit. For once, I did not try to soften or dress them up. You are what? He laughed once, short and ugly. Where exactly are you going, with what money, in whose car? His eyes glittered with mean confidence. I straightened away from the wall. I have a job, I have people, I am not stuck. My legs still shook, but I made them move. I walked past him toward the bedroom. He caught my arm again, fingers digging in. You are overreacting and we both know it. His grip tightened when I tried to pull away. You are not thinking clearly, you are triggered. I am thinking clearer than I have in years. I looked straight at him and did not blink. Let go of me or I call my mom right now. The threat tasted electric in my mouth. Something in his face flickered at that. He loosened his hold just barely. You want to drag outsiders into our marriage, he hissed. We are supposed to handle our own issues. You broke that rule when you blocked my friends, I shot back. Not just her, all of them one by one. I yanked my arm free while he stared. A pale band of skin showed where his fingers had been. He stormed out of the room, swearing under his breath. I heard drawers bang and shoes slam into the closet. I am going for a drive before you push me too far. The front door rattled shut hard enough to rattle frames. The second he left, my legs gave out. I sank onto the edge of the bed, gasping. Every instinct screamed that this window would not stay open long. If I did nothing now, I would talk myself back into staying. I got up and started moving on autopilot. Purse, charger, a few changes of clothes. Important documents pulled from the back of the drawer. I stuffed them into a duffel so fast my hands blurred. My phone buzzed and I snatched it up. You home? Jenna's text read. Fear and relief crashed into each other in my chest. Not alone, I typed, then erased it. I told him I am leaving, I wrote instead. Need help getting out while he is gone. This time I hit send before I could rethink it. The dots appeared almost immediately. On our way, 20 minutes came back. Pack what matters, leave what does not. I stared at the words and suddenly could not breathe right. What counted as mattering felt different now. I grabbed a photo from the bedside table. Not of him. One of my parents on some random weekend. I slid it between folders like a quiet anchor. Car doors slammed outside earlier than I expected. Panic shot through me until I recognized her brother's silhouette. I ran to the door and yanked it open. Jenna stood on the step, breathless, eyes blazing. "You ready?" she asked, already scanning behind me. Her brother hovered at the bottom of the stairs, jaw clenched. He did not come closer until I nodded. "Grab the heavy stuff first," he called up. We moved fast. Duffel into his hands. Backpack slung over Jenna's shoulder. I shoved one last pair of shoes into a tote. "What about the rest?" I choked out. "The books, the dishes, the stupid little decorations. Pieces of a life I had tried so hard to make look normal." The idea of leaving them felt like erasing years. "It is just stuff," her brother answered from the door. He did not look unkind, just practical. "You can replace things, you cannot replace you." He jerked his head toward the driveway. "Phone." Jenna held out her hand. I hesitated, then gave it to her. She toggled through settings with quick, precise taps. "Location off, sharing off, backup off," she muttered. She pulled out a small prepaid from her pocket. "This is yours now, only a few people get the number." She pressed it into my palm like contraband. "What if he comes back while we are loading?" My voice shook so hard it barely sounded like me. I pictured his car swinging into the drive, brakes squealing. Him seeing them carrying my life out. "Then we call the police and your mom," her brother answered. He adjusted his grip on the duffel. "Right now he is not here, and we are not wasting that." His certainty steadied me more than any hug. I took one last lap through the bedroom. The bed we argued on, the closet he organized, the mirror I avoided. I caught my reflection one more time. I looked terrified, but I also looked awake. "Leave the ring," Jenna said quietly behind me. I looked down at my hand, the band still there. Twisting it had become this nervous tick for years. My fingers froze around it now. "He will lose it if I take it off," I whispered. She shook her head once. Eyes fierce. "He already lost you, he just does not know yet." Her voice came out like a dare. I slid the band off slowly. My skin tingled in the empty circle it left behind. I set it on the dresser without arranging it. Just a small metal loop in the middle of bare wood. "Let's go," her brother called from the hall. Every second felt suddenly loud. I grabbed the tote and followed Jenna out. Each step away from that room felt unreal. As we stepped outside, my neighbor glanced over from their driveway. Their eyebrows rose at the sight of the bags. "You moving?" they asked, half joking. "Something like that," I answered, voice rough. The moment I slid into the back of her brother's car, my phone lit up. His name flashed across the old screen in Jenna's hand. Incoming call, then another, then another. She silenced it and met my eyes in the rearview. "You do not have to answer," she reminded me. "He will spin you in circles until you doubt every step." I nodded, but my thumb still twitched. Breaking a reflex like that feels like ripping off skin. A text preview popped up next. "Where are you? Why is your location off?" Another message followed so fast it cut the first. "If you do not respond, I will call everyone." "He is already escalating," I whispered. My lungs refused to fill all the way. "He knows something is wrong, he is going to blow up my family's phones." The guilt landed even before the calls did. "Good," Jenna muttered. "Then they know you left because you had to." She tossed my old phone into her bag without ceremony. "You are not his missing package, you are a grown woman leaving." We pulled away from the curb. Watching the house shrink in the rear window felt unreal. Every argument, every apology, every tiny concession lived in those walls. I kept expecting some invisible tether to snap me back. Halfway down the block, my chest tightened. "Turn around," I gasped. The urge hit so hard I nearly grabbed the wheel. I did not tell him where I am, I did not leave a note. "What would the note say?" her brother asked calmly. He watched the road, not me. "Sorry," I finally listened to my fear. He let the question hang there until I answered it myself. "It would say I am sorry," I admitted. "Sorry you made me so small I forgot my own name." The sentence surprised even me. Once it was out, I could not take it back. Jenna reached back and squeezed my knee. "Do not apologize for surviving." Her voice shook, but her grip stayed solid. Do not apologize for believing me either. My old phone buzzed again and again in her bag. Calls, texts, voicemail notifications stacking up unseen. Every buzz felt like a ghost tugging on my sleeve. I let it ring itself hoarse. We reached her brother's place faster than I expected. He parked close to the entrance and killed the engine. You can stay as long as you need, he said quietly. No rent talk, no pressure, just safety. Walking through that doorway, my legs went weak. I dropped my bag by the wall and leaned against it. For the first time in a long time, there was no echo of his rules. The silence sounded strange and clean. My new burner phone vibrated once in my hand. A message from my mom lit the screen. Are you okay? He is calling everyone and freaking out. My heart lurched at the thought of her hearing his version first. I left for now, I typed with shaking thumbs. I am safe, I will explain when things calm down. I hovered, then added one more line. Please do not give him this number. 3 dots flickered, then vanished, then came back. Proud of you, come here when you are ready, her reply said. I knew something was wrong, I am on your side. I read it twice, then a third time. Jenna sank down beside me on the floor. Your mom answered, she guessed from my face. I handed her the phone so she could see. She let out a shaky breath. Now he cannot claim everyone thinks you're crazy, she murmured. He is losing the script, and that is not on you. Her own shoulders dropped a little. I had not realized how tense she had been too. Later, after her brother went to the kitchen, she turned to me. Do you regret meeting me today? She asked. The question hung there heavy and hesitant. She looked like she already knew the answer and dreaded it. I thought about the mug, the wall, the blocked lists. About the way I counted his footsteps at night. About the empty hallway in our house and the ring on the dresser. About the car I was not in anymore. No, I answered. My voice was tired but steady. I regret how long I waited to believe you. The admission burned and healed at the same time. My old phone finally went silent in her bag. No more buzzing, no more flashes, just dead weight. I knew there were voicemails waiting, long tangled speeches. I did not feel any urge to listen to them. Here is the part that still blows my mind. My best friend still hates my husband. Her reasons did not see. Hinge just because I finally walked out. The only thing that shifted was whose side I believed. Now when she says she cannot stand him, I understand every word. I remember the subtle digs, the near misses, the tightening rules. I remember the girl who laughed those things off and called them normal. I do not judge her anymore, I just refuse to be her again.